Alright dudes, Hazink here and welcome back to the Netherrealm. Today I'm going to update my review on Disgaea and talk about how I feel about the game now that it's been out for just over a week. In this video I am going to talk about things that are positive and I also have a few negatives that I want to talk about. But this is how I feel about the game. How you feel about the game is something entirely different. So jump down in the comments at the end of the video, let me know what you think about what I've said, and tell me if you disagree and if there's anything that you want to add that you dislike or you like about the game. Now, the support on the channel is great, I'm growing fantastically. If you've not subbed already, please consider doing so, I'll love you forever. But let's jump in and talk about my feelings about Disgaea after this one, just over a week period, okay? So first off, I just want to show you guys live my playtime. I've played for 173 hours, so I've obviously put in quite a lot of time to this game. That doesn't even include the little bit of time that I've played on the PC, but I don't like using the emulator. I'd rather use the phone for it. So anyway, I want to talk about my feelings about Disgaea and what I like about this game, in fact what I love about this game, and a few minor things that I don't really like about the game. Okay, so first off, I'm going to talk about the gameplay loop. For me, the gameplay loop is the same as standard Disgaea. You grind, you want to see your characters get stronger, you want to get to the point where you can one-shot people with ease, and I feel like this game still captures that, okay? It loses some of the more tactical elements of the mainline Disgaea game, but it does still have a layer of tactics in there, with you worrying about who supports who buffs who, your team synergy, and things like that. So I feel like in one aspect it loses some of its tactical elements, but it gains some other tactical elements along the way. So I still feel like we could call this a tactical RPG, just not as much as the traditional ones, okay? Now, basically, the gameplay loop consists of you running levels, getting stronger, going into the item world and grinding out loot, okay? A lot of this game is about loot, okay? You want to get good weapons for your characters. I'd say you want to get good armor for your characters, but let's face it guys, if you're grinding the item world, you're going to get armor, okay? The item world more often than not will drop armor for your characters when you want weapons. I have been going through an absolute hell on my live streams. People know now it's becoming a bit of a thing where I just cannot drop the weapons that I need. Now, I know this game is purely RNG based, so my day will come, I will get those weapons, and when it comes it's going to be very sweet, but just be aware, grinding in the item world to get what you want can take a considerable amount of time, okay? Anyway, so let's talk about your daily day playing Disgaea. For me, what it consists of is it consists of me going in to the Dark Assembly and passing bills. First of all, what I do, and I don't do these all at the one time because then you're stuck for time. The first thing I would do is I would drop the 2 times drop rate, okay? Once I've dropped the 2 times drop rate, I then head over to the Dark Gates. The first thing I do is I grind out Reincarnation Materials, okay? Now, Reincarnation Materials are vital in this game when you are leveling your characters, okay? And if you decide to be someone who levels a lot of different characters because you want to try a lot of different teams, you are going to drain these extremely quickly, okay? So if you are a free-to-play player, don't go crazy leveling people. Level a few core struts of your team, things that you know that you want to use going forward. Use your gems on them. Don't be using your gems willy-nilly, because as it stands, you're probably going to struggle to build these up and you'll find yourself hitting a wall constantly, waiting for the next day, waiting for the next day, waiting for the next day to grind up these materials. Because even as someone who isn't fully free to play, I still have the same issues. I have the same problems where I'll hit a wall with reincarnation gems, and it's because I'm taking a few more risks trying to get a few characters leveled to try them out on different runs, etc. But I hit the same wall as you guys. Now, I've actually brought out a video that'll be over there somewhere now that I've moved and everything's flipped, I forget. But it's talking about a few theories I've got and I've seen the community having in relation to getting drops on this stage. But what you should do is activate your 2 times drops, okay? And me personally, what I do is I run as many of these stages as possible manually. Okay, now I find I get better drops manually, and that is why I run this stage manually. So if you look here, basically whatever one is highest, you should have a higher chance of getting the one below it. So this one drops stage 2 and stage 1. It should drop more stage 1s than it drops stage 2s, if that makes sense. So moving up to here, this drops at level 3 and level 2. It should drop more level 2 than level 3. So if you're grinding for level 2 stones, do it in this one, if that makes sense. Run it manually, because I do honestly believe that you get better results. That is something I really enjoy about the game. Then what I would do is jump back into the item world. I pass the 1.5 times HL, get that, and then do the same again for EXP. That is the first part of my gameplay loop, and I really enjoy doing that. What we then do is we then jump over to normal stages. If we have any AP left, which generally after doing all this, you don't. I need to usually use pots to finish this. But what happens when you run out of pots in Disgaea? You get to use the item world endlessly. This is one of the reasons that I think this game is actually fantastic. It doesn't stop you from playing. A lot of gacha games, a lot of games in general that are free to play, stop you playing. When you hit a barrier with your energy, you basically are not allowed to play anymore. You either need to spend money to top up your energy, or you just simply have to go away and wait for it to refresh back up so that you can go again. Not only did this Disgaea do things like the doping wheel, where it will give you a boost to the amount of AP you have, it will literally let you endlessly play the item world. Playing the item world, you can level up your characters, but the amount of XP you get is very small, so don't expect any massive strides when it comes to leveling your characters. However, you can use it to raise your weapon mastery for free pretty much. You just constantly run the item world, your weapon mastery is going to fly up as you clear stages. If you're someone who enjoys the gameplay loop of chasing loot as well, like I touched on before, it's fantastic. You run a stage, if you get drops, they're guaranteed to be one rarity higher, which means power wise they're a significant amount higher than the previous set that you had. So it can be quite addicting going for the gear or the weapons that you actually want to get. Now, one negative that I still have with the game is the Nether Pass. The Nether Pass is something that players pay for, and if my analytics on my YouTube are anything to go by, I have quite a lot of people that watch from the likes of Singapore, overseas and the UK. Those people are not really getting a good chance to access something that they're paying for in regards to the Nether Pass. Now I have brought out a video about this one as well, so if you want to look at that, it'll be up here. But basically, the Nether Pass has still not been fixed. You can still only pass half price builds and guaranteed to pass builds at a crazy time for anyone who is not US based. So I feel that they still need to focus on that. They need to treat all of their player base better and basically make some sort of a compromise where everyone can get access to them, because they can be vital, they can save you a lot of resources, and I feel that they really have to focus on doing that for the players, because unfortunately players who can pass it for half price are essentially having an advantage, because they'll probably run the XP builds twice a day and grind out the hardest levels they can, and that's why they're getting themselves much further into the game. Luckily, the game isn't PvP, so it doesn't really matter all that much, but if you're someone who's really bought into the whole gameplay and you're addicted to this title, like me, you want to be pushing on as quickly as possible. So I feel that they should sort that issue out with the Nether Pass ASAP. Some of the other things I've got issue with are things like generally how you access the UI, how you sort weapons and stuff like that. I'm not going to go down too bad on it because it has already been fixed in Japan. Japan has a lot of quality of life updates to the game that we don't have yet. The only thing I will say is I understand us not receiving every banner straight away, that makes sense, but if quality of life upgrades existed to make the game smoother, to make it play better, to give us easier access to seeing our equipment, etc., I I don't understand why they just didn't launch with that straight away. So that is a bit of a negative I do have. The only other thing I want to touch on in this video is the gacha system. To me, the gacha system is absolutely fine. You go in, you do your 10 summon. On some banners you have a higher chance of getting the character. You have time limited characters. We'll do a little just to show the mechanic. You have time limited characters. You may... Oh, I don't have any stones. Hey. You may get the character that you want, you might not. The rates don't look that high on paper, but they're generally in line with most gacha titles. The only games that really do things differently is games like Dokkan, where you get a guarantee of whatever the highest rarity is of a character on every multi. Bear in mind guys, Dokkan didn't always have that. That's an older game now, and it took a while for it to happen, and after a while it did add it into the game. Games like Grand Cross currently don't give you guaranteed URs or SSRs. Maybe next year they'll do it for that because the game's slightly older. Bear in mind, as this game grows, Disgaea is going to start doing something along those lines. We're going to have step up banners where you get guaranteed 4 stars. There's step up banners where not only do you get guaranteed 4 stars on specific steps, on the final step you're guaranteed to get the new unit. So things like that do start coming to the game. It's just the game has to age a little bit first. It has to bed in. Once that happens, we're going to start seeing things that you might expect to see if you're used to playing other gacha titles. So, long story short, and it has been a long story up to now, I absolutely love this game. But nothing's changed. I actually love it more than I did when I first started playing the title. So to me, I think this is a fantastic gacha title. If you have not played Disgaea, I feel like it's definitely worth giving a go. If you like the original Disgaea games, I understand how the strategy RPG element not being the same could put you off. However, this version of Disgaea does have its own layer of strategy, with you having to worry about things like team synergy and how people match up together to clear those stages. So if you do love Disgaea, give the game a go. You don't have to spend money. You can do this game free to play. It's just going to take you some effort. But if you're used to playing Disgaea, putting in effort is something that you should not be surprised about. Anyway guys, I love this title. I recommend it to everyone. My name's been Hazink, or it still is Hazink. It's not been Hazink, it is Hazink. I'll really appreciate you showing up for these videos, dudes, and I'll catch you on the next Disgaea RPG video. Stay safe, dudes.